Hello and welcome to another episode of Around the World. When the war between Russia and Ukraine started, it was feared that the relations between the US and India could be strained, as the US was infuriated with the recent stance of India. India supported Russia on the fronts on which the US needed India to support it. India's stand have not been favorable to the US, neither in the matter of voting in the United Nations nor on political statements. The US still ignored India's diplomatic gestures in this respect. But when India increased its oil imports from Russia, despite the economic sanctions imposed on Russia by the US got further infuriated. Despite all this, the US has indicated on several occasions that there has been no decline in its friendly relations with India. In addition, the US supported India during its conflict with China and lauded the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, of which India is also a member. But the US has now given a major blow to India by reversing its policies towards India. Actually, the USA's administration under the President Biden has overturned Donald Trump's decision and has approved defense deal worth $450 million for the F-16 aircrafts to Pakistan. In 2018, Trump announced to stop every kind of defense aid to Pakistan. After that, this is the first major defense aid being provided to Pakistan. Under this aid, the F-16 aircrafts already procured by Pakistan will be repaired and equipments will be also provided for the same. This deal pertains to the maintenance of F-16 fighter jets already sold to Pakistan and making these aircrafts operational. As per the deal, hardware and software modifications will be carried out in the aircraft's engines. Furthermore, engine repairs will also be done and new parts will be installed if the need to do so arises. The Indian government has given intense reaction to the recent decision of the USA of providing defense aid to Pakistan. India has stated that with the help of these military equipments, the aircrafts of Pakistan will fly over Indian airspace and attack Indian targets. However, the US has reiterated that it has no plans to add new functionality to the already procured aircrafts, and the new weapons related to these aircrafts will also not be provided to Pakistan. However, America has cited that it will help Pakistan to fight against terrorism, and it will not pose any new challenge to India. However, the question remains that whether this claim of the US is true or not. We will discuss this whole issue in today's story. We will try to analyze the impacts or implications of the defense aid being given to Pakistan by the US. We will also try to know India's concerns towards the deal. We will also try to analyze that why the US is providing defense aid to Pakistan. Let us first of all know about the F-16 aircraft. It is believed that in the 1970s, when the US felt the need for light fighter aircrafts, then a company named General Dynamics created the new fighting Falcon F-16 aircraft. These aircrafts were single-seater and single-engine jets. In addition, these aircrafts were capable of flying at twice the speed of sound. These aircrafts were also capable of carrying various types of missiles and bombs. These aircrafts were commissioned in the US Air Force in 1978. Apart from Pakistan, the US has supplied F-16 aircrafts to countries like Taiwan, Thailand, Bahrain, Egypt, Portugal, Belgium, Netherlands, Denmark, and Poland. As far as Pakistan is concerned, it had first procured F-16 aircrafts from the US in 1981. Later, after the 9/11 attacks, Pakistan had procured 18 modern F-16 aircrafts from the US when it pledged to support the US in its fight against terrorism. At the same time, the US continued to provide maintenance support for the aircrafts already sold to Pakistan. According to the BBC, a deal worth $62 million was approved for spare parts for the C-130, T-37 and T-33 aircrafts, including the F-16 aircrafts in 2011. Then in 2016, the US made a deal of about $700 million with Pakistan for providing 8 F-16 Block 52 aircrafts. However, when Donald Trump came to power, relations between the US and Pakistan did not remain cordial. In 2018, Trump cancelled the $3 billion defense aid to Pakistan. As a result, the gap between these two countries had increased significantly. Considering the deterioration in the relations between the two countries, it was believed that now the US would not provide any defense aid to Pakistan. The resentment between the relations of Pakistan and the US was quite crucial from India's point of view. It is a well-known fact that Pakistan has been an old ally of the US. The relations between the two countries have been very strong since a long time. Relations between the two countries deepened during the tenure of Nawaz Sharif, Prime Minister of Pakistan. The increasing proximity between Pakistan and the US in South Asia was not at all suitable for India from the strategic point of view. However, the rift between the two countries in recent years has been positive for India. As we all know that nothing is permanent in the political world. The same has come true as the US has again started re-establishing its relations with Pakistan. Now the question arises that why India is concerned about the increasing proximity between US and Pakistan. First of all, let us understand India's concerns regarding F-16. At present, Pakistan has 85 F-16 fighter jets. These aircrafts had become quite old and dilapidated, and they did not pose any serious threat to India. However, now that the US has taken the initiative to revive these aircrafts, then it is obvious that they can pose a serious threat to India. After the upgradation, the combat capability of these aircrafts will increase, and these defunct aircrafts will be ready to give a tough competition to India once again. On the other hand, the Indian Air Force is already troubled by its dwindling fighter squadron members. According to media reports, the Indian Air Force has the approval of 42 squadrons, but at present there are only 30 squadrons in India. It is clear that India has far less fighter aircrafts than it actually needs. In such a situation, the increasing capacity of Pakistan Air Force is definitely not good news for India. Overall, this decision of the US can have an adverse impact on India's security. Let us try to understand why India is concerned from the diplomatic point of view. Actually, both India and the US have partnership on various cardinal issues. Apart from the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, both countries are working together on forums like the G20 and Quad. Despite all this, the US has given a big blow to India by signing a defense deal with its arch-rival Pakistan. India already has strained relations with Pakistan in South Asia. Hence, if the US continues to support Pakistan, then it will create major security challenges for India. The major challenge ahead of the US is that it had to withdraw from Afghanistan. Consequently, the US is not able to make a stronghold in Asia geopolitically. It also has to keep an eye on Central Asia and Iran. Therefore, it does not want to ignore other Asian countries only for the sake of India. It wants to establish a strong foothold in such plain in Asia from where it can monitor the entire Asia. Therefore, the US has started giving importance to Pakistan so that it can keep a close watch on the regional geopolitics of Asia by making inroads in the region. However, the USA's move is nothing more than a diplomatic game. As we had already informed you, that US got fumed with India's stand on the Russia-Ukraine war. On the one hand, India continued to support Russia, and on the other hand, it also increased trade with Russia. Therefore, the US wants to warn India that if India will take diplomatic actions according to its will, then it too will not hesitate to make Pakistan its ally. However, it is also true that India will have to accept the US decision willingly or unwillingly, as the US had not consulted India before making the policy decision. However, it remains to be seen whether India succeeds to counter the recent US move or not. Now we come to the next segment of the Sunday special episode of Around the World. In this segment, we will talk about other significant international news. The disputed area of Nagorno-Karabakh again witnessed a daunting face-off between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Dozens of Armenian soldiers have been reportedly killed in several hours of fighting along the border. Given its critical situation, Armenia is again appealing to the global community for help. It alleges that the soldiers of Azerbaijan are trying to advance in the area. The Armenian-populated Nagorno-Karabakh is internationally recognized as an Azerbaijan region, but due to ethnicity, the people of this region want to either secede from Azerbaijan or join Armenia. The President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, visited Doha, the capital of Qatar. The two-day visit was aimed at promoting mutual relations between the two countries. This is el-Sisi's first visit to a Gulf country since 2017. This is the year which saw diplomatic crisis of Gulf Cooperation Council. After reaching Qatar, he met Emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and talked about strengthening mutual relations. Egypt severed diplomatic ties with Qatar in the year 2017 after accusing it of supporting terrorism. Afterwards, it joined the anti-Qatar GCC group comprising Saudi Arabia and its Gulf allies, the UAE and Bahrain. The conflict ended in 2021 when Qatar signed a declaration with the four countries to normalize relations. Since then, the relations between these Arab states and Qatar has improved. There is a signal for sigh of relief in Ethiopia, which has been facing civil war for the past several years. Actually, amid struggle, Ethiopia's Tigray rebels have agreed to participate in peace talks led by the African Union and said they are expecting a viable peace process with mutually accepted mediators under the supervision of international observers. The situation in the Tigray, Afar and Amhara, which are regions of Ethiopia, have become very critical due to the civil war and widespread destruction that had been going on for almost 2 years. This conflict zone is located in the northern region of Ethiopia. The Central Asian country Kazakhstan has again initiated the process of renaming its capital. Kazakhstan's President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev has approved a proposal to restore the capital's previous name, Astana. The capital, filled with skyscrapers, was renamed Nur Sultan in March 2019 in honor of the former president Nursultan Nazarbayev. The Central Asian country of Kazakhstan was formerly part of the Soviet Union, and Nursultan Nazarbayev was its president since then. In 2019, he suddenly resigned from his post. Now let's look at the question. What are the implications of the defense deal between Pakistan and the US? What kind of challenges will this defense deal pose for India and South Asia? Evaluate. Thank you so much for watching.